Well, hey garden friends, welcome back to my Oregon yard. It's Destry. Today we're going to be doing kind of a fun project. I have got something that I've been wanting to try to do for a long time, so I thought I would share this process with you and kind of teach as I go along. And let's go ahead and mount this beautiful Staghorn Fern today. So I have been wanting to do this project for so long. It's something I've always wanted to try. So for this project, I have some beautiful moss that I collected here in the Pacific Northwest. You could also purchase moss. I would suggest using something as natural as possible. And then the other thing I have is just a piece of wood. This one is actually flat on the back and it's got some character. It has that hole there, which I'm going to have to work around. And then of course you need a beautiful Staghorn Fern. So if you don't know much about growing these, let me go ahead and tell you some things I've learned about growing them. So Staghorn ferns are really easy to grow. I have a couple now. This is actually my third, and they can be a little tricky, but for the most part, I've had pretty good success with them. So one thing I would suggest when you're planting these is to make sure that you don't cover the crown of the plant. So they have what's called a shield, and I'll show you in another one that I have where it has more of that shield, but that's where the new growth actually comes from. And so it's important that that stays intact. So when you water them, I would have two ways that I would suggest doing it. The first way would be to bottom water. So that means to take something like this out and then actually put this in a dish of water that's pretty deep and just let it drink. Let it drink for maybe 30 minutes. That would probably be plenty of time. Then take it out, let it drip, and then don't water it again. I would say for another 2 weeks, depending on the humidity in your area. So let it really drink, take a long drink, and then give it some time in between waterings to dry out. Now the other thing you could do to water these is just to top water them. They don't mind that either, but again, be a little careful of the top part here and to kind of water underneath the shield. So let me go grab my other Staghorn Fern and I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here is my other Staghorn Fern. This one I got more recently, and you can see this shield part is in really good shape. Now, when the shield does get brown like this, you can actually just leave those leaves unless they start to feel really mushy. I would say if you see any signs of like fungal damage or anything down here, then go ahead and kind of peel those bottom ones off. But ones like this that are green and sort of healthy, again, those are totally fine for that small amount of browning to be there. That's actually totally normal. And then you can see on this one, it has more of that staghorn look. So when I saw this particular plant, I snagged it because it's already got such a beautiful form. Now it can take a while for them to form these, I guess for lack of a better term, I guess fenestrations, kind of this, you know, this shape or whatever. And you can see my other one that I held up doesn't have as much of that, but look at the size of that leaf. So when that does do that, or the new leaves that will come out, this is, it's gonna be beautiful. Now also these might be slightly different varieties now that I'm looking at this, the shape of the leaf too, but I think it just depends on the maturity of the plant when you start to get those fenestrations. Then this one here is my biggest one, and you can see it's just stunning. Now I wouldn't probably try to mount one like this onto a board. I'm not that experienced. This is my first time doing this. And B, I mean, it's so healthy. I just want to keep it healthy. I actually have not repotted this one either, but I will show you, I do water it kind of back in here, or for this one particularly, I think the bottom watering works really well. Then I don't have to worry about getting too much moisture up into the shield of the plant. So anyway, those are a couple of my staghorns. So let's go ahead and I'm going to flip the camera around and go ahead and get started on this project. Again, I'm learning as I go. Couple of the things I have some a hanger for the back of this, so I'm going to put that onto the wood so I can actually hang this up when I'm done. I have my cordless hot glue gun, which love this thing. You plug it in, you warm it up, and then you can take it wherever. So it does have a base, but you plug it into that base. And then, like I said, I do have lots of moss that I collected out at my mother-in-law's. So thank you to my mother-in-law. She has a beautiful property, and so I have some natural moss to use, which I'm really excited about. Now, just to show you the difference, this is some moss I got on Amazon. And again, there's nothing wrong with this. This you would soak in water and let it fluff up. And again, you could use something like this if you didn't have natural moss in your area. I think this would work just as easily. It just would have a different look to it. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. I'm so excited for this. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, so here we go. All right, well, the first thing that I'm gonna do is go ahead and flip this over and put that hanger on the back of this. Now, of course, I couldn't find a hammer because that would be way too simple. Let me adjust my camera here a little bit. Hopefully that's okay. I used to make a lot of wood signs for a while. I did these like wood sign painting classes when those wood signs were just so in. And so I just happened to have a lot of these hangers. Of course, what I don't have is a hammer. So I'm gonna try to figure out what to use here. I was thinking about using my clippers, which I don't know if that's gonna work. I might have to actually go get a hammer here. Hammer definitely would have been easier, but okay, we got it. When in doubt, use the back of an old spoon. Cool. Okay, here we go. So let's see here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave the top of this. You can see there's kind of a bigger piece here, and then there's this cool hole. So I'm going to put the plant here. Okay, that's kind of my plan. I also have some fishing line for this. I've heard that can be really helpful to sort of lash things, but also hide. And now I'm not saying every single piece of mechanics of this is going to be hidden, but here is kind of my idea. So I have all this moss, and so what I've done is kind of create basically like a little pocket, okay? So I also teach ceramics, and one of the things we make are wall pockets. So, you know, thinking about this kind of like this little pocket, and then the plant is going to go down in here. What I'm thinking is I'm going to hot glue some of this moss together just to help the structure. And then I will go ahead and plant the plant, lash it, and then at the end cover it with this moss. So first things first, I got to, now my glue gun got a little cooled down on me because I've been talking. So I might need to go plug it back in. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go plug it back in, darn it. Let's see if I can do a little bit more here. I also need another glue stick. Well, that's good enough for now. So now I'm gonna move that aside, and I'm gonna go ahead and actually work on the plant. All right, so what I'm planning on doing is sliding this out and then maybe using some of this fishing line. So I'm gonna get some of this fishing line kind of prepared here. And actually what I might end up doing is just kind of doing like basically like a wrap. So I think what I'm gonna do is make a knot here in the back and get this kind of ready to go. And then go ahead and start to see what the plant looks like. Now I'm also going to use some of this moss to actually cover some of this part of the plant as well. And you can see part of the shield here is a little soft and a little rotten. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that. This potting material that they have this in is kind of mossy. And it's almost like, I think it's actually in a little, one of those little fabric pots. So that actually might be really helpful for me. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and place this, and thinking about the way the plant's gonna grow and the structure, I'm gonna flip it this way. And then I am going to start to lash this to the wood. I think we're gonna go kind of like this here. All right, and then I'm just going to go ahead and start to lash this. Now again, my hope is that the moss will cover most of this. It may not. Now I have to be pretty careful with the top of this plant. So I'm going to move some stuff out of the way here and try to protect the plant a little bit. Okay, so that's good. Now I'm back at the back, so I'm going to make my knot here. And I'm going to try to tighten this up and then, you know, hide a little bit of the mechanics of this. But I want to tie the knot kind of off to the side. And I might put a little bit of hot glue as well. But I'm trying to hide that sort of in the back. Test this just to see. Yeah. So the moss, I'm going to again use that moss to support this. So this is good enough. Now I'm going to go ahead and, you know, start to wrap this. But I do have to get my hot glue gun warmed back up. So I've got to go grab that. But this is kind of what's going to happen here. Now again, I might need more moss, but that's okay. But oh, isn't that going to be just so beautiful? Oh, I'm obsessed with it. It's so pretty. All right, so I think just feeling this, I think I need more moss around the sides. So it's a funny story. I was out at my mother-in-law's with the kids and the husband, my wonderful husband, Corey, and I was walking with the kids, and then all of a sudden I stopped and saw this moss and just got really inspired. And my husband was on the other side of the field, and so he comes walking up. He goes, "Let me guess, you're foraging for something. You found something." I'm like, "Yup, I sure did." I'm like, "Grab a bag, we're getting moss." It was kind of funny. So anyway, I thought I would share that story with you. All right, this is looking fantastic. I think I need my water bottle to kind of spray this just to kind of help me mold it. I feel like I need a little moisture, but not soaking wet. And then I definitely need my hot glue gun warmed back up, but I am thrilled with how this is turning out. All right, so I went ahead and grabbed my spray bottle here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and spray this. Now, I was also thinking about this, you guys. I mean, this is probably not the most long-term solution for this because honestly, this plant is going to outgrow, you know, this pot. So really, I'm sure there's better ways to do this or different ways to do it, I should say. And, you know, I'm just a beginner, so I think the fact that it's already in a peat pot is actually helpful for me. But I'm sure there are other ways to, you know, take it out of there, repot it, and make this work as well. So anyway, this is sort of temporary, meaning that I would have to eventually repot this plant, right? So it's going to do good in this container for a while, but you know, eventually the plant is going to outgrow that little peat pot. So I'm just adding a little bit of hot glue, and again, I'm not anywhere near the base of the plant. I am just working with the moss. And some of it is knitting together nicely, but there are some areas that I want to be sure, you know, will stay put. So that's where I'm putting the hot glue. So I just want to make sure the whole thing doesn't, you know, fall apart on me when I go to hang it on the wall. So the water definitely helped to sort of help me do this process, to sort of knit it together and form it into this little pocket that I'm trying to do. All right, and so now that that's good, I'm going to go ahead and start to glue the sides. So I'm putting glue on the wood, and then I'm going to press. Oop, got my finger, darn it. I hate that. And I'm going to use, there we go, got something to press with because I do not want to do that again. That was not very much fun. Do a quick test run here and see how this is doing. Oh, wow. That's looking really great. I think that's going to do it, you guys. I mean, I definitely will watch this in the next couple days and see if I need to add any additional hot glue. I'm just going to do one final spray. I don't want it to be too perfect. I kind of like the imperfection of the moss being a little wild. And then I'm going to be hanging this indoors. It got really warm in this greenhouse since I started this project about an hour ago. It was a little cooler this morning, but let me go ahead and show you the end result here of my Staghorn Fern mounting. You guys, I am obsessed with this. I think it is so cool. I have the perfect spot in my house to hang it, and I just can't wait to display it. It's gonna be so beautiful hung on the wall. And this was definitely not as hard of a project as I thought it would be. It was definitely pretty simple. So I would encourage you to try it yourself and report back and let me know how you do and what you thought about it. So thanks so much for watching this video, guys. If you liked it, could you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel? And if you need me, I'll be doing some gardening. I'll see you guys later. Bye.